Hey guys, welcome to the Sports Days podcast with Greg and James. I'm the second part, and with me, as always, he's caroling through the night. It's Greg Cowan, everybody. What's happening, man?
Oh, I'm just dashing through the snow over here in a one-horse open sleigh.
Yeah, this Christmas, Greg, it will be a very special Christmas.
There's gonna be jingle bells. There's gonna be we're gonna be rocking around that Christmas tree after a few shots of eggnog.
The Hanukkah song. Sorry, I just wanted to be inclusive. Yeah, good.
Kwanzaa, that's a thing. When does that start?
Kwanzaa's a thing. I don't know. God, we should check that before we go in there. Yeah, cut this part.
Yeah, we'll just cut it. Kwanzaa, I mean, it confused me. It's like Hanukkah, Christmas combined. It makes no sense.
Well, it makes sense to the people who celebrate it, Greg. Come on now.
It's just one of those holidays I've always been fascinated by because they have 7 candles instead of 8, but they're red and green like Christmas. They just take all the good stuff from each side. It seemed when it first started. It started like 100 years ago, I think.
Really?
I don't think Kwanzaa is super old.
Welcome to the History Stance with Greg and James.
This week, holidays.
We have some stuff. Great start, by the way. Hey, we just came out of the gate. Maybe a quick little stumble out of the block. Got into the weeds talking about Kwanzaa, but we're gonna get it back right now.
Last episode of the year. Why not stumble a little bit?
Hey, don't spoil it. I was gonna wait till the end to tell people that. All right, fine. Last episode of the year. We're gonna cut all this, Greg. What's going on here?
You woke up 10 minutes ago. I don't know what's going on. Life is confusing. I'm at the in-laws. Everything's upside down, James.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's just get into it, man. Well, we have a lot to talk. We don't have that much to talk about, to be honest with you. We have some football, we have some baseball, we have a bowl game preview. I think we can kind of talk about who we think is going to win the bowl games, or at least the college football playoffs.
Yeah, we'll just cover that.
Yeah, exactly. We have a little bit of basketball to touch on. Just a couple things here and there to wrap up the year.
I totally just messed up my mic. Did I lose you? Oh, I lost you. This is good. This is great. You there?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let's restart.
My mic just went like crazy.
Restart it is. Let's go.
All right, hold on. Let me get my mic back in, or my headphones. All right, talk again.
You there? Hello. Testing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll just cut this middle part out.
Well, do you want to just restart it? Maybe we weren't that far in.
Yeah, that's fine. It's probably just going to be 3 minutes in or something like that, just so I know where to try to cut it off.
Okay.
I'm going to count to 5 and start again.
Okay, cool. Hey guys, welcome to the Sports Days podcast with Greg and James. I'm the second part, and with me, as always, he saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. It's Greg Cowan, everybody. What's happening?
Dude, I'm so disturbed right now. But I'm gonna pull through. I'm gonna pull through for you guys. I'm gonna go dashing in a one-horse open sleigh, do some caroling, and try to get that image out of my brain.
It's funny to me how many of these Christmas songs have disturbing imagery, throughout them. That's one of them. You saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. Come on, mommy. Chill.
Yeah.
What's the one? Baby, it's cold outside. The rapiness of it.
Yeah. Slight touch of it. You know what song I've always been bothered by? The Band-Aid, whatever one. Do they know it's Christmas time?
Oh, I've been bothered by that song too. Have we talked about this before?
No.
Of course they fucking know it's Christmas time, you condescending assholes. Come on.
It's not snowing there. It's Africa. Get it through your brains. They get it. They don't have money.
They have calendars just because they don't live in L.A. Do you get the rest of you people? Come on. I get the intention was nice.
But the message is horrible.
What are you doing? Do they know it's Christmas time? Do you know that you're an asshole?
Oh my God, it's
Uh,
not snowing here in my state. Is it
That's so
Christmas?
funny.
I
I'm
don't
so
know.
glad you said that because like I've had that same problem and I've talked about that problem with other people before and they're like, it's just a Christmas song, man. Get over it. Like, no,
No.
you get over it, sir.
I've heard it so much in the past like 3 days, and every time I hear it, I've been like more and more thinking this message is awful.
What's your
Like
we're
this
gonna do
raised
some
money.
yeah, we're gonna do some lists later, and I think I might have already asked you this last week, but if it's a retread, then just let me know. What's your favorite Christmas song?
My Christmas song, my Christmas song is one my wife hates. It was my dad's favorite.
Mm.
And so it's just one of those songs that I hear and I think Christmas. It's Jimmy Buffett, Ho 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 on a Bottle of Rum, which the
That's
message in that one's also not that great since it goes Ho 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 on a bottle of rum, Santa's run off to the Caribbean.
that's not surprising to me at all, to be totally honest with you.
What's your Christmas song, huh? Classic?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I like the classics. My all-time favorite is "Christmas, Baby, Please Come Home."
Oh,
Uh,
that's a
that's
good
a that's a really good one. Lately, my girlfriend and I have been like down with like the kind of more melancholy, a little bit sadder Christmas songs. So we've been listening to that "Christmas Time Is Here" from the Charlie Brown special.
Oh wait, have you
Yeah,
listened
just
to like the saddest Christmas song of all time, the Christmas Shoes?
no, I don't like the ones that say like that tell like a really fucking sad story.
You
I'm
don't like
just not.
hearing that like mommy's dying on Christmas and I need these shoes to buy her so she can be pretty for Jesus?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't like any of that stuff. Who
No,
sings that again? It's like Sarah McLachlan or something like that. I don't know.
probably. She probably holds like 5 dogs while doing it.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
has children come on. If you would give me 5 pennies, I can help these children out.
Yep. Okay, Greg, we don't have much to talk about this week. It's kind of a light week for sports again.
We're gonna
We're
cram a
gear
lot
yeah, we're gearing up for this weekend because this Christmas weekend is going to be a pretty good one. Christmas through New Year's is going to have some good sporting events. We're going to be talking about some football this week. We're going to be talking about some basketball, some baseball topics. And then I think we're going to preview some of the bowl games that are coming out over the next couple weeks here, college football playoffs.
Yeah,
Before we get into
basically.
that, though, man, before we get into any of that, though, how are you? How's things?
Things are good. I mean, I'm at the in-laws, so I'm already here. I'm getting ready. I'm already sipping on some eggnog
Ooh,
because why not?
love eggnog.
And yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'll have a glass like once just
Right.
because of the mood. But
Yeah.
besides
Hey, why
that,
not?
besides that, why not? Brought the gifts in, got them under the tree. Just now, I'm actually staring at all the Christmas gifts for Sunday because I'm in my basement, and that's where they have them all. And it's really tempting to not just go open a bunch of them.
That's pretty nice, man. Hey, give the in-laws my best.
I will. And, hey, by the way, did you get the Christmas card this year?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
Greg and I have a controversy where him and Mary sent me a very nice Christmas card. What was it, like a year ago, 2 years ago?
Last
And you asked me like 5 times if I got the Christmas card. I never got it. And you're like, dude, it's okay if or what? I don't know. You didn't believe me that I didn't get the Christmas card.
I found it hard to believe. You gave me the address. I wrote it down perfectly,
Yeah.
and you never got it. So it was very confusing and disturbing to me.
Well, I never got the Christmas card. This year, however, right on time, I got my beautiful Christmas card.
Yeah, I was
With
talking to one of our other buddies who you're roommates with, and I was like, "Did you get your card?" He's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Do you know if James got his card?"
Yeah, this
He's
is
like, "He
very
did." I'm
important.
like, "All right." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't care if you got yours. I just needed to find that out.
Yeah, I got my Christmas card.
I care
Great.
about James, not you.
The issue I have with your Christmas card is there's no pictures of you and Mary. It's basically just you signed it. You just bought a card and signed it. Like,
Yeah,
was
well,
the I thought the whole point of the Christmas card was do some pictures, nice family photo.
it
Maybe you
is
could.
once you have a baby.
Well, yeah, I don't know. What you could do fun, like if you could do it like a beach vacation, you just take a Santa hat and be like, "Oh, this is gonna be the Christmas card."
Yeah, no, we don't do that. We basically said when we have a child, that's when you can start seeing our faces again and see how we've aged through the years.
When you have a child and you've named it James, I do appreciate that, by the way. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to even respond.
Let's get into it, Greg.
Wait, how have you been? You just skip over that.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You're
I'm good,
sly.
man.
Not that sly.
I'm good, good. Busy, but this time of year, it's gonna kind of start to wind down a little bit towards the end of the year, and gonna go see some family and eat some food, and I gotta do a lot of Christmas wrapping today. Got all my Christmas shopping done.
That's
Uh, just basically drunkenly bought everything on Amazon. It was
that's
pretty
probably going to be the
spectacular.
best Christmas ever because not only will they be surprised, you might be surprised too.
Yeah, hey, wait a minute. I didn't know it was that cool. Fantastic.
I bought that. That's what that was in that box. I want
I
that.
I got my dad a Google Home. Have you heard of this thing?
Yeah. So did you have to like debate between the Echo and the Home?
Kind of. The Echo is pretty expensive. I was thinking about the Echo for him because he uses Amazon a little bit more than he uses Google. But um, I don't know. I saw online that the Google Home was really cool, so I just decided to get him that one. Um, I don't know what he's gonna use with it. I'm afraid that I just bought him like $100 way just to Google something. But
That's totally fine. I completely wanted one of those this Christmas too, but I was told I should wait till I actually have a house.
yeah, so I'm excited to give it to him because I know that he's gonna use it. I'm just concerned that he's only gonna use it to ask it stupid questions.
That's kind of the point though, and that's going to be great.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
can't, I just got to know what happens like Christmas night once it's set up and you're all drunk sitting around. You're going to start just asking it questions.
I
And
know. I almost want him to bring it because we're going over to my cousin's place. My cousin's getting a little weird. Actually, cousin George has been on this podcast.
yeah, cousin George is a treat.
Yeah, so we're we've had we have the whole family gets together and they're a little rowdy. So I want him to bring over the Google Home and have everyone just start drunkenly asking it stupid things.
Hey, you should get Google Home involved in the doorman family tradition.
What's up?
You said your family does the thing like doorman. I remember
Oh,
a long time ago.
oh, that's not like a tradition. That's just things that we say at each other.
No, I thought it was a tradition. I thought you said that like in our like third episode ever.
Oh well, no. I mean, it's not like we sit around and be like, okay, it's time to say doorman at each other. Doorman. Like I don't know. We just all really like knocked up.
That'd be great. All right, your turn. Doorman, good one. Your turn. Doorman, even better.
Yeah, that's weird. But we do need to I do need to figure out a Secret Santa or a Yankee Swap gift. Yankee Swap. Yankee Swap gift. I need to get a lightly used, funny Yankee Swap gift for this thing. So if you have any suggestions, shoot them my way.
Do you have like a cost that has to be under?
No, it just has to be lightly used. Maybe I can just give him this microphone.
Like lightly used.
Yeah.
Do you have any underwear that you've just worn like once recently?
I have, but I like how I feel still, Greg. Come on now.
All right. Well, I was gonna say that's lightly used.
Yeah. No, they're used, Greg. They're used.
Okay. All right.
One wear. That's all it takes for me.
Can you
Okay.
put your girlfriend in the Yankee swap?
I'm skipping over that. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. We have some stuff that we're going to talk about this week. I think we're going to start with football the way we always do. We're going to recap last week. We're going to take a look at this week upcoming, and then make some predictions and all that kind of stuff. We're going to start off. I think we're going to start off Jerry's in, Jerry's out, right? I think that's what we're going to do this week.
Yeah, I think so.
Jury's in, jury's out. It's tough because we know a lot of stuff. We know a lot of things already. So there's not much that we're going to be able to discover, so to speak. But let's kind of get into it, Greg. Who do you have? Jury's in. What do we know for sure after week 15?
Well, I'm gonna actually include last night just because I saw a video that made this even more of a jury's in. Odell Beckham Jr. is the prima donna diva of wide receivers in the league. Jury's in on that.
Yeah.
He complains more and more every week, and he thinks he doesn't get the calls. If he doesn't get the calls, his teammates don't get the calls. It's just ridiculous. He had to be escorted to the locker room by the owners last night because of how distraught he was over certain calls not being made in that game, which I get it. There were some bad calls. As an Eagles fan, I can admit that. But I don't care because the Eagles won. And even if they lost, I would have bitched about it, but not expect a player to go as crazy as he did. And it's been happening week after week. And it's just getting worse. And he's starting in the new Terrell Owens, and you don't want that.
Okay, now Greg, that was part of Week 16 action. So I will let this one slide because it's Christmas and I'm feeling
Thank
charitable.
you.
But
It was just further proving my point.
that was part of Week 16. That was a game last night. But I will go ahead and let it slide.
I
My
said
jury's
last
in.
night, put it back into place. I said it solidified it.
Fair.
It was in last week. That last night just added extra fire to my flame.
I see. My jury's in. Steelers Bengals is just a dirty play fest. That's the jury's in. That those two teams hate each other. That whole game, the Bengals looked like they had it at first. They jumped out to a lead at halftime, 20-9 lead at halftime, and they had some fantastic plays. Um, but yeah, the Steelers came back with what was this like 6 field goals in the game?
I can actually tell you in a second. I have the game
Yeah,
log right here.
six field goals. 6 field goals and a touchdown, and the Steelers won. But the entire game was just so chippy and just like you're concerned that Vontez Burfict was gonna take someone's knee out, and there was just some very real safety concerns when the Steelers and the Bengals play each other. So jury's in. Those two teams hate each other.
Yeah. Plus, that stadium was completely empty.
Yeah, it was brutal. The Bengals, man, what's going on? Fall from grace.
Marvin Lewis, I'm gonna guess, should be fired. If he survives,
I mean,
I
you
don't,
had
I
to.
don't know.
I don't think that I expected very much from the Bengals this season, but coming into the season, especially after the last couple of years, you need to see an improvement, and you saw like a 3 steps back sort of thing. So
Yeah, I mean they've been the division winner or at the top competing, and then it's just a fall from grace basically.
yeah, exactly.
If the Bengals
Um,
are graceful.
yeah. Okay, Greg. Jury's out. So what do you not know going into the final couple weeks of the season?
Jury's out. This is a very broad one, and I'm just gonna go with it. Jury's out on the MVP of the league.
Yeah,
This
that's a good one.
it's coming down to the wire. Basically, you have so many people with so many different arguments of Brady should get it for what he's done in only like what he'll do in only 12 games. Derek Carr should get it for how much the Raiders have improved. Stafford for all the comeback wins. Ezekiel Elliott, even though he has the best offensive line, the offensive line should get it. David Johnson on the Cardinals has basically the same stats as Ezekiel Elliott. Why isn't he being talked about?
Le'Veon Bell potentially.
I've not seen this many people kind of thrown into the mixture of MVP debate in a while. And it's exciting to that extent, but at the same time, you're like, how is this going to go? Is it going to be such a clusterfuck of just votes at the end that it's going to be like somebody won with like 10 first place votes and the second place person had 9 barely? So it's going to be interesting. I'm really actually curious to see where Brady ends up, if he ends up winning or if he ends up being very close after having the 4-game suspension.
It will be interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it either. I mean, you could even throw Dak Prescott in on there as well.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get it, obviously, but I mean, you could legitimately make a case for even like I mean, my case before the season was Aaron Rodgers, and I like despite all the people that are that were freaking out throughout the season that he wasn't doing that well. If the Packers like back their way into the playoffs, I can see the football writers being like rewarding him, being like, you know what, we'll give it to Aaron.
Yeah, especially without a running back this year.
Yeah, so that's something. I think that they're not doing that well, and it's tough. You can't really give it to somebody whose team is doing so poorly, but. Andrew Luck, man. I mean, like we give the Colts a lot of shit because they're hard to watch. There is no one on that team except for Andrew Luck. Like,
yeah, he's somebody else.
I would say T.Y. Hilton. I would say T.Y. Hilton is a second receiver at best.
Yeah, with glimpses of a number 1.
Yeah, so this is to do what he's done under the duress that he's been under with this horrible offensive line, and to drag this team
in the back.
Yeah, and to drag this team to 500 within shouting distance, to be honest with you, of the AFC South. He's got to get some sort of consideration, I think.
Yeah, and then plus you also have Matty Ice on the Falcons, who's just had an amazing season also.
Yes, he has.
Like
Yes, he has.
there's just so many people this year that jury's got to be out on that.
Yeah. My jury's out. I struggled with this one. I don't know what to make of the Lions.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
going to
so
be totally
confused by
honest
them.
with you. I know that I said jury's in on Matt Stafford being an elite quarterback. I might have spoken a little too soon, but I think that like there's some days where I'm just like every single week I just don't know what I'm going to get with them. Like I think they should have beat this Giants team.
I mean, you're gonna get excitement. That's for one.
I think they're better than the Giants team. I think they have better playmakers. Obviously Odell Beckham, whatever. But like I think they should have what I think they should have beat the Giants.
They should have. I was very disappointed. It kind of hurt me fantasy football wise too that they didn't.
It just kind of feels like every single week, like whenever we throw the Lions into a game, like I just don't know where it's gonna go. I have no idea.
If they're behind in the fourth quarter, you think they're gonna win. They were behind in this fourth quarter, and I was like, all right, here we go. Here comes the comeback. Never happened.
Yeah, I mean we have we have the Giants, the Lions in the picks this week, and the Cowboys should beat the Lions, but knowing the Lions, they're gonna end up winning somehow. So
yeah, especially because the Cowboys just clinched the NFC East last night, so they may not even play their starters. Who knows?
Never know. That's my jury's out. I don't know what to make of the Lions.
No, I don't even know if we will know at the end of the season.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That was juries in, juries out. Anything else you want to touch on for week 15 action, Greg, before we kind of jump into week 16?
Looking at it here, the Titans came up big against the Chiefs. That was a huge win for them. And then besides that,
let's take a look at the playoff standings before we have to get into before we're getting into it, right? So New England obviously clinched the AFC East. Kind of breezed over that. I'm really impressive with myself.
Yeah, good.
Steelers and Ravens are still fighting for the AFC North. Houston, Tennessee, and Indy all have a legitimate chance to win the AFC South.
Mm-hmm. And the AFC West is Oakland.
Raiders at least clinched the playoff berth, but it's still between Oakland and Kansas City. The Cowboys clinched the NFC East. But the Giants are kind of right on their heels there. NFC North, the Lions and the Packers and the Vikings, believe it or not, all still have kind of a legitimate shot. The Vikings need a kind of a miracle here, but they do have a shot.
But they got Adrian Peterson back. AP's back.
Yep, true. Falcons, Bucks for the North. For the South, excuse me, still battling for it. And the Seahawks obviously have wrapped that up in that crappy ass division.
Is it just me? I want to see Tampa Bay make the playoffs.
I do too, man. I mean, I don't know. But Falcons were so fun at the beginning of the year, and now they're so uninspiring. It feels like.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the Bucks, I feel like would bring such a young energy to the playoffs and excitement potentially. Yeah. Especially going against either the Giants or Green Bay, I think it would be like a fascinating type game.
Get Jameson there, man.
Yeah. Especially a home game. It would be a home game most likely if Tampa Bay ends up making the playoffs because I think that's basically the only chance they have unless Green Bay stumbles or the Giants completely collapse in the final week. I don't know how that tiebreaker would work, but still.
Yeah. There's some really interesting races that are going to come down to the last couple games, and that's super exciting. I love when that happens in football.
And you can't and even the Pats, even though they've clinched the AFC East in the first round bye, they still can't take a break because if they lose and the Raiders win out, Raiders get number 1 seed, I believe.
Yeah, it's pretty close at least. Yeah, 12-2 Pats, 11-3 Raiders.
And I'm pretty sure if the Pats lose one game and they finish with the same record, Oakland has the tiebreaker somehow.
Strike the schedule, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting stuff. Let's get into week 16 and let's really kind of dig in here, Greg, because we do have some of those races. The first one that we're going to talk about starts at 1:00 here. Vikings Packers. Both these teams have an opportunity to at least sniff the NFC North here. The Vikings at 7-7 are going into Green Bay 8-6. Uh, Packers favored by a touchdown, Greg. Vegas is back on board with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the Vikings come into Lambeau and spoil some things for the Pack? Or do you think that the Packers take care of business at home and keep pace here, with the Lions?
I'm just going to make it short, simple, and sweet. The Vikings still have Sam Bradford as their quarterback. That basically just guarantees them they're going to lose because it's a pressure situation, and Sammy Noodle Arm doesn't know how to handle those. So Aaron Rodgers does. Packs win in Lambeau, get closer to sniffing that playoff picture and NFC North title.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go here with the Green Bay Packers. I agree with you 100%. I think that Aaron Rodgers versus Sam Bradford should be no contest. The Vikings have some interesting questions to answer this offseason, so we'll see what happens. Whether they bring back Teddy ball games.
We want Bridgewater. We want Bridgewater.
And see if that even makes a difference. I think Packers beat Vikings.
Yeah.
Next one we want to talk about, rolling down. That's kind of it for the 1 o'clock games we were talking about. We have a lot of really good. We have a lot of really good games on on Christmas and on the 26th that we're going to talk about. But the 1 o'clock games, there's a couple other ones that you might want to check out if you're a football fan.
On Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, so this is all on Saturday, right? I mean,
yeah.
So we're Dolphins, Bills, and Jets, Patriots. AFC matchups are always fun. Titans, Jags, I guess, but and then the Falcons, Panthers would be interesting. We're gonna go down to the 425 games. Buccaneers, Saints. So Jameis and the Bucs going into the Superdome to play the 6-8 Saints, and New Orleans is actually favored by a field goal here, Greg. So what do you think here? Do you think that Jameis has enough to win a big-time divisional matchup on the road with playoff implications, or do you think that Drew Brees and Sean Payton play spoilers?
I think Jameis goes down to the Bayou and takes it in New Orleans. Plain and simple, Tampa Bay's got a better defense. Their offense can keep up with the Saints. I think the Saints' offense gets shut down a few times. Brees, outside of last week, in the past 3 weeks, has kind of struggled. He had a good game last week, luckily, but I don't think he's going to have a fantastic one, maybe a touchdown or two, but I don't think it's going to be enough against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They look good against Dallas. They had a chance to win that game. They just couldn't clinch on it. But I think overall, they're heading in the right direction, and New Orleans is kind of just stagnant now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I want to pick the Bucs because we both want to see Jameis and a new fresh face in the playoffs. I just don't know if I can do it. I think that this is a big moment at the Superdome, playoff implications, divisional game, Drew Brees in a dome at home. I just kind of see the Saints winning this one. I think the Falcons also lose. I think they lose against the Panthers because I think the Panthers are kind of on their revenge tour right now. But I'm going to go with the Saints here in this game. I'll be pleasantly surprised if the Bucs pull it out, but I'm going with the Saints.
All right.
Let's see here. And then we're talking about 3 games. We're talking about the Christmas games and then the December 26th game. So we're talking Ravens, Steelers. Christmas Day, 4:30, little dinner time game. The 8-6 Ravens go against the 9-5 Steelers. Pittsburgh is favored by 5.5 points at home, Greg. So the Ravens, a little weird, a couple weeks. Sometimes they look great, sometimes they look horrible. Same thing with the Steelers. Don't really know what to make of them. So what do you think is going to happen? This is a big-time divisional game with huge AFC North implications. So what do you think, Greg? Ravens, Steelers.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I forget what that line is from, but it just got put into my head for some reason. But I'm going with the Steelers. Plain and simple, Steelers have better offensive weapons. Their defense can make plays at some points, and against a Ravens offense that is pretty lackluster overall outside of some big throws by Flacco, I think it's going to be nitty-gritty like it always is between these two teams. Steelers might have to just worry about being a little beat up from the Bengals game, but I still think they pull it out. It's going to put them over the top. I think that kind of solidifies them as the AFC North champs. I think actually I don't know if they win if they actually clinch it. Then they might. I think if they win, they clinch. So big game for Big Ben, and he's just going to do what he does. Him, Le'Veon, and Antonio Brown are just going to do work. Did you see the stat like Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown count for like almost 60% of the offense out of all the players? It's nuts. So they're just going to keep doing what they do. Steelers are going to come out on top, shut down the Ravens and whatever hopes they had for the playoffs left.
Yeah. Steelers are probably the logical choice here. I'm going to go with the Ravens just because, hey, let's mix it up a little bit. I think that the Ravens are like one of those teams. The same thing with the Giants are going to somehow fall ass backward in the playoffs, and they're going to do it when with like these ugly games. I think that the Steelers have a chance, and if they can break open some big plays, especially with Bell, especially with Brown, they'll be in okay shape. But I think that the Ravens are going to pull this one out, and it's going to make it interesting going down the stretch here for the last final game.
Yeah.
Okay, 8:30, Christmas night, not Christmas Eve, the night of Christmas. We have the Broncos 8-6 going into Kansas City. The 10-4 Chiefs hosting in Arrowhead here. Kansas City is favored by 3.5 points, coming off a loss. So, Greg, Broncos, Chiefs, what do you have here? Do you have Trevor Siemian and the Broncos playing spoilers for Kansas City's playoff hopes, or do you think that the Chiefs are going to pull it out?
Well, James, after watching everything the past few weeks, diagnosing, looking at the stats, looking at statistics, Trevor Siemian's throw range, that defense, and hearing just basically about how good this team is, I'm going to go with the Chiefs just because basically when you have chaos in the locker room, like the Broncos did after last week's loss to the Patriots, where the defense and the offense hate each other, it's just not going to go well. It's not going to work. Everything's going to be kind of off this week, I feel like, against the Chiefs. It was a tough loss last week against Brady. The defense is pissed. They gave up only 16 points. The offense can muster up 3. They're going against a defense that I would say is better than the Patriots. So I think overall, Kansas City, I'm going to roll with them. I know you're a Chiefs guy, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be the same on this one, unless you just really want to go against your own thoughts and opinions over the past.
No. I'm a Chiefs believer. You know this. Love the Chiefs.
So I think we both agree we're going to go with the Chiefs.
We're going to go Chiefs. Chiefs at home. It's going to be interesting here, especially if the Raiders stumble at all against the Colts, which I really don't think was going to happen. But if the Raiders stumble at all against the Colts, it's going to make that division very interesting. We're going to have like an 11-win 5 seed, 11 or 12-win 5 seed, which is kind of crazy. Yep. Chiefs at home. Broncos, coming off of not a great kind of showing against the Patriots, and Simeon does not look that great. All things considered. It was a nice run. It was a nice run. Yeah, I mean, I think that we need. I think the Broncos need a quarterback. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here, Greg. Okay. Monday Night Football, day after Christmas. Everyone's nice and happy. You got your presents. Some people are back at work, like me. But let's talk about it though. Lions 9-5 going into Arlington to play the 12-2 Cowboys. The Cowboys are favored by a touchdown. Lions are weird, Greg. I don't know what to make of them. So what do you think? Who pulls this one out? We have Detroit or Dallas?
I'm going to go with not Dallas. I'm going to go with Detroit because I think the Cowboys clinched the NFC East. They clinched that first round bye. They don't really have much to worry about right now in the standings of anybody taking that number 1 seed away from them. It's the classic take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit game where they might not, play as hard as they need to. Some of their guys might get given rests that are banged up a little bit. And so I think that plays to the Lions' advantage. They're going to be playing to try to win the NFC North. They want to get in the playoffs, prove that they don't need Megatron anymore on that team. And I think overall it's just I don't think it's going to be an easy win, but I think it's going to be a win nonetheless for the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, my theory about the Lions is being superseded by my love of, Dak Prescott. So I don't know. It's tough. What's a boy to do? I'm going to go Dak attack. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I just think that they're the better team. I think Detroit has a lot more to play for right now, obviously, like you mentioned. Um, but I think that Detroit doesn't have like the run defense that they're going to need to stop Zeke and the Cowboys here. So I choose Detroit. No, excuse me, Dallas. Dallas. I choose Dallas.
It's okay. We both did the same thing. I
Yeah.
almost said Dallas at first, and I was picking Detroit. It's
Yeah.
just a fun thing we do.
It's a fun thing we do, Greg. Okay, cool. That's where I'm at right now. All right. I think that's it for the games this week, Greg. Anything else that you want to point out before we kind of move on?
No, I just think we gotta do our guest pick of the week.
We do have to do our guest pick of the week. So this time of year, Greg, some people getting too busy. Um, they got some family things. They have, our podcast friends are kind of all out and about, getting their lives together and getting settled for the end of the year festivities. But there's one guy who, despite being so busy, took the time to talk to the Sports Dance podcast. And Greg, I think that we got on the nice list this year.
I think you're correct, James. I think we've been very nice, and he saw that and was gracing us with his presence.
So, we asked for one thing this Christmas, and we asked for, the big guy himself to come on in and to take a look and pick some games. So, without further ado, we give you our guest picks of the week. Nice.
That's Santa. He is great.
I can't believe that he said so many nice things about me and so many horrible things about you, Greg.
Yeah, it was a little weird. He did finish with one nice note about me, so I still feel confident I'm going to get some good gifts this year.
That's good. That's good.
He shouted out to some of our family members, which I thought was kind of weird, but I guess he likes them more than us.
Oddly specific. I also, just like the whole jovial attitude mixed with a little biting sarcasm.
Yeah,
that kind of feels like our spiel.
And I like that he picked the games only on Christmas Day. He's done with work. He doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Christmas Eve, he was too busy to worry about what's going on then. But he focused on the day that he can relax.
Yeah, deliver the presents. I mean, I know that as soon as I have a big day at work, I like to come back home, kick back, have a nice drink, watch some football. Beautiful.
Yeah,
and that's what Santa's gonna do.
Love
it. All right, man. Let's move on. Why don't we, since we're here, why don't we just go right to the college football playoffs and kind of and start picking some games.
All right, I guess so. We can do that.
Just because we're kind of in the realm here. Pull up the schedule around me. Where's the football playoffs here, Greg? Where are we doing? We're looking at.
All right. Do you want to just do the football playoffs, or do you want the Big Six bowl games plus the playoffs? We can fly through these.
I thought the bowl games are the.
We have the Orange Bowl, and then you have the two big playoff games are the Fiesta Bowl.
At me. So a little peek behind the curtain, folks. This is going to be the last podcast of the year. We just have so much stuff that we're going to be doing towards the end of the year. Travel and holidays and all this kind of stuff. So right now we're going to get all of our bowl picks out right now. And we'll be ready to go for you guys. You guys will have a one-stop shop for who you think is going to win come bowl season.
Yeah,
so do you have the Bulls in front of you?
I do.
Do you have the Bulls in front of you, Greg? All right, so shoot them at me.
We're going to be rapid fire. Don't cry. We'll be back after the new year. So, don't be too sad. But I'm going to give James and I are going to pick the big games. I'm going to tell you who they are, James. You just give me first instinct.
You got it.
All right, so starting on December 30th, day before New Year's Eve, you have Michigan, Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Michigan's number 6 and Florida State's number 11, James. What do you got?
I'm going Michigan here, Greg. It's at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, so Florida will actually probably have somewhat of a home field advantage. But I love Michigan in this situation, strictly because I've been a Michigan believer this entire time. I wanted them in the playoffs. So Tom Brady is going to come out and give a pretty amazing pump-up speech to the Orange Bowl to his team. So at least that's what I predict. Right. Michigan it is.
I'm going to go Michigan too. I mean, that defense is stout, and I just have to go with the team. Anytime a team has a tight end with the last name Butt, how can you not pick them? So
exactly.
I'm going with Michigan based off of those facts alone. All right. So next game we have is I'm going to go right to the college football playoffs because it's the next two big games. We're going to go Washington number 4 versus Alabama number 1 in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Yeah, we're gonna go with Alabama there, Greg.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would. I'm going to go with the upset, Washington. Why? I hate Alabama. Just with a fiery passion. I don't care if the stats are all against me.
You hate the Patriots too. The Patriots still win, Greg.
Yeah, I know. So I'm hoping maybe my hate, really helps in the college football realm. I actually think Washington has a chance. They have a decent offense that, can spread it out. Their quarterback's good. Their defense can, I think, maybe hold up against the SEC type speed. But I guess only time will tell. And yeah, so I'm going Washington. But you know what? I fully expect to lose that one. So next, we got the 11-1 Ohio State versus 12-1 Clemson. So, record-wise, pretty similar. Had a tough season both sides, and it's the Fiesta Bowl, James. Number 2.
PlayStation Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I'm sorry. PlayStation Fiesta Bowl.
I'm going to go with Clemson here, Greg. I'm going to go with my South Carolina brethren, even though I used to visit South Carolina every once in a while. I think that I've watched a couple Clemson games, and they're an exciting team. I think that they deserve this number 2 ranking. I just don't think that Ohio State has the firepower necessarily to kind of outgun these guys. I'm going Clemson in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State's favored by 3. I don't think that means much. I'm going Clemson just like you. They are, I think, the better overall team. I think Deshaun Watson's better than JT Barrett. And Ohio State, some people don't think they deserve to be there. I think they do, but I still think they lose because Clemson overall is the better team. In the former Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, which it should still be named because it makes way more sense than PlayStation Fiesta Bowl.
I have a PlayStation, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, whatever. All right. We have the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, where you have the outsider Western Michigan, who was 13-0 and ranked 15th in the country. That since they were the best non-Big 5 team, they get in a slot there. Versus number 8 Wisconsin. James, who you got?
Greg, I could tell you nothing about either one of these teams, and I didn't even know that Western Michigan was a thing. So I'm going to go with Wisconsin.
Yeah, I kind of figured you to know that, but I know about Western Michigan, and I'm going to row the boat, James. That's their catchphrase. That's what their coach says. Row the freaking boat. That's all he says. That's all he has to do. He's like a young 35-year-old guy. He's spry. His team's spry. I think they pull off the upset here, and Wisconsin doesn't expect them to be as good as they are.
Dig your own grave, my friend. I'm assuming next we're going to go to the Rose Bowl.
We are. You are correct, my friend. USC versus Penn State in the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Wow, that is a very long bowl game title. All right, James, who you got?
I'm going to go with USC in this one, man. Pasadena, hometown boys, USC made good in the Rose Bowl. It just makes sense, right? The Rose Bowl, you want SoCal to be represented, in Pasadena here.
They are favored by 6.5, and I'm going to roll right there with you. USC is going to take this one. Penn State, not going to be happy in the Valley. I don't know if you saw what it did there, but it did it.
Boom.
Penn State, people are pissed because they didn't make the college football playoffs. I don't think they deserve to. They were 11-2, but they kind of had a cupcake schedule outside of the big powerhouses of Michigan, Ohio State. So, yeah, USC, they've been hot lately. I think they take it. All right, and last but not least, we have the All-State Sugar Bowl, where you pit War Eagle Auburn, 8-4, somehow making this, versus Oklahoma, 10-2, who's dealing with the Mixon hitting a woman video.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I don't know very much about either one of these teams. I think Oklahoma's probably the better team, but I'm going to go with Auburn here because we both have a good friend whose brother played at Auburn. So we're going to, I think I'm going to stick with Auburn.
Yeah, I'm going to go War Damn Eagle here too, mainly because we also both have, higher moral standards than Oklahoma does. And yeah, that's basically it. So that was our college bowl preview. I thought it was pretty good. James, you were on point. You were on point.
I do appreciate that. I wasn't looking for a compliment, but I'm going to take one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's it for college football. Let's briefly touch upon. You want to talk about MLB a little bit, and then we can finish up with some NBA.
Yeah, we can talk about MLB a little bit. We only got like 2 quick stories in the MLB because not much is going on now. The hot stove is cooled off. Some moves are still being made. The biggest one probably of the week is not Edwin Encarnacion signing with the Cleveland Indians for 3 years and $60 million. No, James. The big one was Clay Buchholz got traded.
Yes, he did.
He is no longer in Boston, folks. And both of us being Red Sox fans, it's a huge thing. Big time.
Yeah. We gotta acknowledge the end of an era. Clay Buchholz was one of the one of the more interesting players that we had. I mean, he came up. He played against. He pitched a lot in the playoffs. He's been a big part of our lives. I think that we all knew that he was kind of a special talent when he threw that no hitter. I think that's one of the worst things that happened to him.
Oh yeah,
I will contest that. I just don't know if it was an injuries. I just don't know if it was a mental thing. But I will contest that when he was on, he had some of the best stuff I've seen. It's pretty close, at least. It was pretty impressive.
That's the thing that bothered Red Sox fans, I think, is he had the talent. We've seen it. He had that one season where he started off like 12-0 and had like a 1.4 ERA, and then he got hurt and came back and was not even close to the same pitcher. So, we lovingly called him this year Claydro, which I kind of think is disrespectful to Pedro. But he was traded away to the Phillies for a minor leaguer, and the Phillies taking on his full $13.5 million contract. So,
yeah,
you couldn't have asked for much better.
Yeah. So goodbye, Claydro. Now that we have Sale, I think that this is a good move for the Red Sox. Just get him out. I think it's time to move on.
It is. It's time to move on. And like I said before, talking about that real quick, Edwin Encarnacion did get a deal finally. Multi-year deal, which is what he was looking for. Not as long as what he was hoping for. He wanted a 6-year, like $150 million deal. Instead, he got a 3-year, $60 million a year deal from the Cleveland Indians. So, they get a big-time slugger. It'll slide nicely into that DH spot. And, the Indians' offense just got a little bit better. Napoli's probably not going to be there anymore, but Encarnacion's a little more consistent than he was.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, last but not least, we got to figure out just quick prediction, James. Does Jose Bautista sign with a team?
Or just doesn't? He's just going to be a free agent for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
he's going to sign with the team. People are going to take a shot. I think that finally, teams are finally like a little bit wary of someone who power hitter on the wrong side of 30. I think that's a real thing. I think that you need to. I think that you need to take that into account. He wants a big money contract. He's not going to get one. I think that he's going to have to, settle for a contract that is less than what he's expecting. He was a huge star for Toronto, and I think that he was he was a great player. But at 36, what are you going to do? you can't really expect anyone to shell out like a 4-year contract for you right now, especially when you're a power hitter like that. We've seen it too many times for teams to get duped again.
Yeah. He doesn't really have many years left, and he's injury prone, and he can't hit anymore from what we've seen. So
it's
just that.
Too bad.
All right. Moving on. Time to talk some basketball.
We don't have much to talk about here, Greg, other than there's a couple of interesting tidbits. Like the Warriors are good.
Are they? Are they really though?
They're pretty good. There's some other great things happening in the West. I think that's going to be an interesting playoff shakeout. I think that the Warriors, the Spurs, the Clippers, and the Rockets. That's going to be an interesting kind of race around there. It's a good top-heavy Western Conference, and I like it a lot. The funny thing to me though is that the bottom of the West is so bad right now.
Yeah.
Like the Trailblazers, the Sacramento Kings, the Denver Nuggets, and the Los Angeles Lakers, and the New Orleans Pelicans, and even the T-Wolves are not all that far off from each other from a playoff spot. So you're gonna have a kind of a race for the 8th seed coming up, which is gonna be interesting. I mean, even the even the two worst teams in the West, the Mavs and the Suns, are even a little better than the ones in the East. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. I think that what we should do, Greg, is that we should pick Christmas games because I like the Christmas games.
All right, I'll do that, and then afterwards, I have two quick things I want to talk about in basketball that I mentioned to you before that I just think are worth talking about because, well, we need something to say in the NBA outside.
Yeah. I think at that point we don't even need to do lists because we're pretty close to being like a full episode here.
We got like 3 games each. I don't think it's not that long of a list. I think we can handle it. We can go a little over. It's the last one of the year.
You're right. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. So Sunday, December 25th, one of my favorite traditions, Greg, is the Christmas games. I like the Christmas games. I like the Christmas uniforms. I like the fact that the NBA kind of owns Christmas a little bit. The NFL is going to try to sneak in this year, and I totally get it because it's on Sunday. But I think the NBA really owns Christmas. I actually think the NBA season should start on Christmas.
Yeah,
they did it. They did the 1 year with the lockout, and it worked out really, really well. So first up, Boston, the Celtics at New York.
I know what you're doing at noon.
At noon, yeah. Oh yeah. What do you think, man? Celtics at New York. Who pulls this one out?
Isaiah Thomas is back. Celtics are looking good. They look really good. So I'm gonna go Celtics over the Knicks. I don't believe in the Knicks, and I think who was the coach that just came out and basically bashed on Carmelo Anthony?
George Karl.
Yeah. I think basically what he says kind of gets Melo down in the dumps, so he won't have a good game.
I'm also going to pick the Celtics here, man. I think that they've looked really good. I think that the underrated story right now is Avery Bradley has turned into a really legitimate shooting guard in the NBA. 3-and-D kind of guy.
It's looking good.
Golden State at Cleveland. Big-time finals rematch. LeBron has been averaging some crazy amount of minutes. He's been averaging almost 40 minutes a game. So I guess so much for resting him and waiting for the playoffs here. And Golden State has kind of got it together. This will be the first matchup between the two since the finals and since Kevin Durant joined the Warriors. So who do you have in this game, Greg? Do you have the Golden State or do you have Cleveland?
Everybody's gonna go with the Warriors. I'm gonna go with Cleveland just because. Why not? They're gonna be in Believe Land. So might as well. I think LeBron has a crazy stat game, puts up like 40 points. I think Kyrie steps up his game because I think he, wants to prove that he can compete with Curry on a daily basis. And Kevin Love actually looks, pretty decent. So I think if all those 3 can work and J.R. Smith can hit a few threes, I think they actually can surprisingly take the win here. Regular season, I know it doesn't mean as much, but it gives them a little confidence boost going into the playoffs and potential finals rematch for the 3rd year.
Yeah, I'm going Golden State here. I think that the Warriors are going to kind of pour one in on Cleveland. I think it's going to be I think it's going to light a fire under the Cavs' butts a little bit here. I think it's going to be a fun game though. I think it's going to be one of the best games of the day. Chicago at San Antonio. Weird Chicago team versus a pretty hot San Antonio team, although they did just lose last night. But who do you have in this one, Greg?
Spurs. Yeah, I don't need to say much else.
Same. Let's just move on. And then Minnesota at Oklahoma City. I kind of want to watch this game because you've got the young bloods in the Karl Towns and Andrew Wiggins. But then you have Russell Westbrook, who's just still destroying worlds. I mean, this guy is unreal. I think that he's kind of far and away the MVP right now. But what do you have in this game, Greg?
Is Oladipo still out? I think he is.
Let's find out.
I think he's still hurt. If he's still hurt, I'm going to go with the Timberwolves. I think just because talent-wise, I think that just gives them the edge over the Thunder. Russell Westbrook basically is 4 players on a court at once. But I think they need Oladipo to kind of space things out and give him a little more room to work with. And, Timberwolves, I hope they can start turning around a little bit because I want to see them make sort of a playoff run for that 8th seed.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Timberwolves here. I think this is going to be a fun game. I think that Karl Towns is the man. I saw him in person again this year, and it was just so good. So, Karl Towns. Okay, and then finally, 10:30. You're kind of sleepy. The eggnog has really kind of kicked in, but the game's still on. The Battle of Los Angeles. Clippers versus Lakers. Who do you think pulls this one out, Greg?
I'm gonna go with the Clippers. Lakers, have been a pleasant surprise this year in the league, but I think both of them, they're both of their home courts, so it doesn't really matter. It's a Lakers home game. But Clippers are just the overall better team. I think they start turning it around and start, picking it up again since that terrible loss streak that they had. And yeah, plain and simple, it's gonna be late. Clippers are gonna take it though.
I'm going baby Lakers, baby. I love the Lakers. I think that they're such a fun team. I think that Luke Walton's a great coach. I think that they're surprising in their ability to, jump out to big, quick leads. They've been losing a lot of big leads, but I think that this is going to be a fun Christmas game, and I think that the Lakers kind of barely squeak by the Clippers and beat them here. And then you had a couple things you want to touch on for basketball, Greg.
Yeah, the first being, Shaq is making like his round the clock of Lakers and Heat retirement trip, apparently. So he was like with the Lakers earlier this week, and now last night he was with the Heat, and it's very odd. And they're both like, trying to basically one up each other with gifts. And so first the Lakers have announced they're going to, have a bronze statue of Shaq dunking a ball like through a rim, and it's going to hang 10 feet above the ground. Don't know how safe that is. Don't know how they're going to hold that up. So that'll be interesting for one. And then last night with the Heat, they gave him a replica 18-wheeler of the diesel-powered rig that brought him to Miami that he like came out of when he got signed with them, plus like money and retiring his jersey. So it's just an interesting. I just love seeing teams that have like a star player like Shaq, who have been with them for 6-7 years each, maybe not even, retiring his number and just trying to one up each other to basically be like, we love him more. So go screw yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Shaq is the man.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it.
And then the only other thing was I just want to talk about how Grayson Allen and Draymond Green would probably make the ultimate evil duo in the NBA. Because if you don't know, Grayson Allen trips people for a living, and Draymond Green kicks him in the dick. And I think that would just be the ultimate teamwork play. Both of them just tripping and kicking guys in the dick every night on the court, I think would be a spectacle to watch.
Yeah, that was something, man. Grayson Allen, dude. He's a lot of Grayson Allen hate out there right now.
He's a psychopath. Did you see him on the bench when they were like trying to calm him down after the technical?
No.
Dude, you gotta see this video. He's just like him literally throwing like a temper tantrum on the bench, and like one of the coaches is literally trying to like hold him down to the chair, and he's just like freaking out and looks like he's having some sort of like mental breakdown. It's nuts.
Jeez.
I mean,
Crazy.
if you trip people 3 times on 3 national televised games, it's not a good look.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So,
okay.
Those are the only 2 things I wanted to touch on.
Good. Let's get into our final segment here, Greg, because it's the last episode of the year. We want to do something a little special, and we want to talk about each of us has our 3 favorite games of this year. It's pretty broad, right? But you can kind of choose however you'd like to kind of go there. 3 favorite games of this year. They can be anything. They don't have to be the most important games. They don't have to be the closest games. They don't really have to be anything other than just pick your favorite games of this year. So, Greg, what do you got for us? Favorite game this year?
All right. Do we want to go back and forth with this, or how do we want to do this?
Let's go back and forth. Yeah, so I don't think we did it in order. Just the 3 games that you're gonna look back fondly on 2016 for.
All right, 3 games I'm gonna look back fondly. Number 1 might be my number 1, just as personal favorite. Is I went to David Ortiz's second to last game ever as a Red Sox in the regular season. So that was really cool. They did ceremonies. They had all old players from the Patriots, Celtics, Bruins come out to honor them, and it was just a really nice thing to do. It was cool. My brother got tickets last minute from a friend, and so he and I went. So it was a nice moment, not only just to see that, but to spend with my brother. It's something we try to do every year, go to Fenway to see a game together, and makes my mom happy. But it was just cool. Red Sox didn't win, but still, nice game to go to. Kind of cool to seeing a legend put on the uniform for one of the last times ever, take a few last swings. So that was at least one of my top 3 games of the year.
That's a good one, man. I am gonna go. I'm pulling up the one that I'm looking for right now. Um,
I can keep going if you want me to on that.
no, no, no. I wanted. No, this is the one. I just want to make sure I get all the. I want to make sure I get all the
Info, right?
the actual stats right. Yeah. I am gonna go with Game 5 this week. October. Was it 9th? Patriots Browns. The return of TB12. Um, that was something special. I mean, um, I was at one of our old stomping grounds. Actually, I was at Amherst Brewing Company, which is now called the Hangar in Amherst, and I was watching this on the big screen and just watching him, just kind of sling it around the yard. He had some unbelievable plays this game, and it was just everything that I was hoping it was going to be. It was The anticipation was huge. It was against the Browns, so the game was never in question. But it made me so happy to watch. I mean, it was a slaughtering, and we had just come off the bad 16-0 loss against the Bills, and Jacoby Brissett and Garoppolo are both hurt, and it just made me really happy watching Tom Brady come out there. Is one of the games that I'm going to remember more than anything. Even though it wasn't all that important, it was a crappy midseason game against the Browns, and it was still fantastic. So that's one of my favorites. Next one, Greg, for you.
Next one, James. You're gonna like this pick, I think. I'm going with Kobe Bryant's last game as a Laker, dropping 60. I watched that game from beginning to end. I'm not even the biggest Kobe guy. Never, was a huge fan of his. Kind of thought he was a dick. But, you got to respect the game and the player that he was. And, it's one of those things that if people are talking about, you can be like, yeah, I watched that game. And it was great. I mean, the man, he was just lights out. I didn't care how many shots he took. Nobody did. And the fact that he did so much at the end of that game to look like old Kobe Bryant, where he was just taking over the end and coming back and getting that win for the team. I mean, it was great. And, the after the game, the speech, and just finishing with Mamba out was a perfect ending to him. And just so typical Kobe that it was just one of those games that you're going to kind of remember when anybody ever mentions it or mentions Kobe Bryant, like the end of his career.
Yeah. That's a good one. I'm gonna go Game 7 of the NBA Finals, Cavs versus Warriors. Um, Everything leading up to this game was phenomenal. The whole series was great. The Cavs down 3-1. Draymond with the kicks. Draymond getting suspended. Just everything kind of leading up to this one game. And it was one of the better games that was out there. I mean, it was definitely a little sloppy, especially towards the end. But you had such dramatic moments. You had the chase down block. You had Kyrie's dagger over Steph. You had missed threes towards the end by the Warriors. It was all really an amazing game, and it brought Cleveland their first championship. In what was it, like 60 years or something like that? It was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that was a game that I think everyone's going to remember. They've been showing LeBron's chase down block like in every single best of the year, montage they can possibly fit it in, and it just has to. It's just so good. So I'm a big fan of that one. So
I think they should carry it over to like 2017 too. It was that good of a play.
It was a great play, and that almost overshadows Kyrie's absolute dagger over Steph, which was unreal. So that's one of my favorite ones. All right, Greg, your final favorite game of the year.
Well, James, my final favorite game of the year could be similar to yours, depending. I'm going to go Game 7 of the World Series.
That's what mine is.
Yeah, I figured we were going to agree on that, and we're probably both saving it to the end so we can kind of talk about it together.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. It had everything you could ever want in a game, especially of that magnitude. World Series, 7th game, comebacks, extra innings, rain delays, huge, World Series droughts ending potentially on the line. It was phenomenal. Like, I can't even put it into words how great of a game that was.
It was pretty fantastic. I mean, I've never really, I haven't been that excited about watching a baseball game in a while. And you could tell it was a good game because I was watching with people that didn't care about baseball, and they were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Like everyone that I talked to about that game, that whether you liked baseball, you didn't like baseball, if you watched it, you just thought that there was like nothing else like it. and there really wasn't. I mean, I think that there was one of the best games in the in the entire history of baseball. It's going to go down as one of the best games
Oh yeah.
ever played.
It,
Um,
it had. I mean, you had people questioning what Madden was doing, what Francona was doing. Like, did that?
yeah, the Rajay
Oh,
Davis home run is one of like the greatest moments I've ever seen. It
yeah.
was just like, can you believe this is happening right now?
Like even
Um,
John Lester coming in, and like the pitch like immediately after coming in, like pass ball, run scoring. Like you're
yeah,
like, this is
David
crazy.
Ross too. I mean, it was unreal. And then you really felt in the ninth inning like the Cubs were going to lose that game. There was no like momentum at all going the Cubs'
No.
way. And then that rain delay happened, and that's like one of the best things that ever happened to them.
Yeah.
But
And then you hear about the rain delay and the speech that Hayward and them gave in the dugout that got like everybody regrouped. And you're just like, this game alone could be a 3-hour movie that people would watch, even though they know the ending.
yeah, I can't wait for the documentary to come about that series because
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
I can't
So
wait to
that,
see Kevin Costner as Joe Madden and Liam Neeson as Terry Francona just because.
there you go. Well, I really like that. I think that's a no-brainer. That's the best. That's the best game of the year.
Yeah. By far. I mean, it's just one of those things that you're going to remember. It was 170 or something like that. I forget exactly how many years it was.
It doesn't matter. It was
It doesn't
just one
matter.
last
But
time.
it was just great. I mean, just seeing the videos the next day of outside Wrigley and right when the scoreboard announced they were the winners of the World Series, like it gives you goosebumps just thinking how many people, how much it meant to them. Like you have the celebrity like Bill Murray, who's like one of the coolest celebrities, being on the field like a little kid and celebrating because of how ecstatic he was. I think there's some comedian Bob Newhart is a huge Cubs fan, and he's like 90 something, and he stayed up to watch it. It was just like awesome to see all these people get this relief finally of seeing their favorite team. Red Sox fans understood it and just getting that relief of we finally won it. It's over. The curse is broken.
Pretty phenomenal stuff. All right, man. That's it for our show this week. That's it for our show this year.
Yeah.
2016 has been a good one, man. We started the sports dance this year, which is pretty cool. So I think that we had a pretty good first like 8 months or so of it, and I'm excited to keep going. But to you and Mary, man, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Same to you and your girlfriend. And I didn't even say her name because I know how you are. I'm keeping her private. Nobody can go search. All right. Yeah. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's to all of you and your family.
Yeah.
Shout out
Thanks,
to Santa again for the guest spot. That was awesome.
Thanks, Santa, for the guest spot, and everyone who's listened to us so far. It's been really, really fun, guys, and we're gonna see you next year with some blazing hot sports takes.
Yeah. Right off the bat, I think that's the first thing we should do is just first 5 minutes is hot takes.
Hot takes only. Hot. All right, man.
Thanks to the staff, though. You guys deserve a few days off.
Yeah, I mean, not too many, right? I mean, I need Christmas dinner being made, so if you guys could take care of that, that'd be great. But
Christmas Eve, enjoy it with your family. That's about it.
You got this one. That's you guys. Congratulations, you earned it.
Just make sure the appetizers are done before you go.
Little apps, love me some apps. All right, man. Let's wrap it up.
That's James.
Let's get out of here. I'll talk to you soon. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year's, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. Happy New Year's. Talk to you guys next year.